Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Today I'm sharing with you this beautiful Valentine's Day swag in a gnome theme. This swag could be made entirely from Dollar Tree materials, and I'm going to share with you how to take Dollar Tree materials to the next creative level, as well as how to substitute other materials to add a creative polish to this swag. Welcome to my channel today, and if you're not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one so I may share with you all of my upcoming projects in 2025. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this tutorial, and as always, I love receiving your comments. Okay, let me show you how I created this beautiful Valentine's Day swag. Let's look at the materials that you're going to need to create this piece. I purchased this at the Dollar Tree. It's a very cute gnome sign. They have a variety of gnome signs there. This one has a stake attached. If you see a sign at the Dollar Tree that does not have a stake attached, it's very simple. You can attach a yardstick or a long painter stick, and that will suffice. That will do exactly the same job as if you purchase this one at the Dollar Tree with the stake attached. I also added a couple of wood dowels onto mine because I wanted to attach some small bundles along the sides of the swag to fill it out. Now, this can very easily be accomplished by gluing a couple of dowels onto there. Very easily done, and this will provide an extra means to attach some bundles to make that a nice full piece. All right, Dollar Tree has 6-inch deco mesh in red and white. Especially now, the materials for Valentine's Day are in abundance. Even at the Dollar Trees that don't stock well, they're still available because every Dollar Tree that I've gone into is crazy packed with Valentine's Day materials. I also have some snowball tulle there, and that you should be able to get as well. I'm going to suggest that if you are going to do this entirely out of Dollar Tree mesh, I'm going to suggest that you get 3 rolls of each color and a couple of rolls of that snowball tulle. Now you see here I'm showing you some 10-inch mesh, deco mesh. That's going to be one of my substitutions that I'm going to talk about here in just a bit. It's a beautiful, obviously beautiful mesh, and I wanted to add a few bundles of that for visual interest and just for beauty, because those meshes are beautiful. You're going to need some little hearts. These are paper hearts, but they're more on the heavier side. I got mine at Hobby Lobby last year, but they have tons of these kinds of hearts and variety of different types of hearts, everything from wood to glitter paper hearts at the Dollar Tree. I also have a little bubble heart there because I'm going to be placing a heart hanging down from the tip of the gnome's hat. I have here some glitter hearts, very easily found at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 3 different sizes. Now, you should have absolutely no problem finding these at the Dollar Tree. So next up, we're going to, I'm going to show you a ton of ribbons that I have. Oh my goodness, do you think I have enough? Well, these are all left over from last season, but I've already looked at the Dollar Tree. They have a plentiful assortment of ribbons. They have narrow ribbons, 2.5-inch ribbons, 1.5-inch ribbons. That's a Dollar Tree ribbon. Absolutely love that one. They have that from year to year. Now, I have, as you can see here, a wide assortment. That's a 2.5-inch ribbon from the Dollar Tree. They have an assortment of that size ribbon as well. When it comes to Valentine's Day at the Dollar Tree, they go a little bit crazy. So it's fun to go in there and just gather up materials to create Valentine's Day DIYs. This is a beautiful ribbon that I'm actually going to use for the bow. This I got on clearance last season at Joann Fabrics. Always check out after the holiday is over. Places like Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby to pick up materials for next season. If you're a big time crafter like I am, that's something that I always do. You're going to need some pipe cleaners. Red or white will do, scissors, hot glue gun, all the basic tools. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that hanger off the back because I'm going to be creating my own hanger for this piece. Now, as I mentioned before, this piece came with the wood piece, which is very convenient for creating a swag. And I'm going to be adding on a couple of dowels, as I mentioned before. Now, you can create this piece by attaching your pipe cleaners first around the wood stake, or you can do it like I do. I don't normally create like a working wreath, if you will, or a working swag. I've heard that expression used. I attach my bundles as need be. Okay, I don't anticipate ahead how many pipe cleaners I need to wrap around the stake. That's not my method of doing things. Perhaps you've seen it done like that. I just attach my bundles as I go, as needed. So I took some wood glue and I attached my dowels, and I have that off to the side drying. Now, this is the Dollar Tree mesh. It's 6 inches wide, 5 yards long. Now, I'm going to be adding some 10-inch deco mesh bundles onto here. So what I created with Dollar Tree mesh is I created 7 bundles. I'm going to be placing a red piece at 15 inches, a white piece at 15 inches, and a snowball tulle piece. I don't think I created it that long. I think I created it more at like 14 inches, not quite as long as the 15. So I'm going to simply be creating scrunches, and I just turn my edge under a little bit. I crawl down the center of the deco mesh with my fingertips, and I just create scrunches. I'm not concerned about fraying. I just don't really see that as such a huge problem with deco mesh. Some people do, I don't. Any trimming that I need to do after I finish the piece, I just do it. It's not going to sit on your swag or on your wreath and just sit there and fray. I mean, the fraying occurs because you're handling the mesh. Okay, so I'm using my clip, as you can see there, and I'm created a white piece and a red piece. Now I'm doing the same thing with my snowball tool. And I just place that right in the center, and I create a very pretty little bundle. Love, love, love snowball tool. You should be able to find that at the Dollar Tree. They come out with that snowball tool usually at Christmas time, and also around any patriotic holiday. So always pick that up when you see it. It's 6 inches wide. Absolutely love it for so many projects. Now, I suggested in the intro that I'm going to suggest different ways to really take your piece up to another creative, polished level, if you will. I'm going to use some leftover mesh from Christmas. And I'm going to do some Woodland Method loose roll bundles. So I just roll up my deco mesh, take my other hand, roll up the other side, scrunch it down the center, and then I create 2 bundles, one with the red and white, and one with the white striped deco mesh, which is one of my favorites. And then I add a 12-inch piece of snowball tulle. Now this, as you can see, creates a beautiful, beautiful bundle. Now I'm going to be placing these down the center of my swag, right on that thicker stick that that came on the piece. It's just a way to take your piece up to another creative level, adding more textures, adding the visual interest of the striping on the deco mesh, the stripes on the other deco mesh. It adds something to any piece. So if you have any leftover mesh, go to your stash, see what you have. Think about adding some 10-inch wide deco mesh bundles. I added 4 down the center of that piece. Along the sides, I'm going to place my smaller mesh that I did with the Dollar Tree deco mesh. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how to take your piece up to another creative level. On this gnome, the pink had no glitter. The red stripes were glittered, so I thought, why not take a paintbrush and some Mod Podge and sprinkle some pink glitter on all of those areas that were just basically flat paint. Now, another reason to do this is the way that I believe that Dollar Tree signs are shipped is just thrown into a box. They're not wrapped individually, therefore they get scuffed up, they get dented, scratched. This is a great way to camouflage things like that. Now, for example, I purchased this gnome sign. I got it home and I noticed on the pink area that it had some little indentations. It wasn't really pronounced, but it was enough to bother me. So I thought, you know what? Another good reason to add some glitter. I completely camouflaged that area, which happened to be on the primary stripe on that hat. So I just took my paintbrush, painted on the pink area Mod Podge, and then I took my pink glitter, which I get at, guess what? Or guess where? Hobby Lobby. Yes, of course. Okay, so I just did all the pink areas on my hat, and look at what a difference that made. It's so pretty. You can take simple signs from the Dollar Tree and elevate the look of them just by spending a few extra minutes to add little touches. Now, I pointed to the shoes of my gnome. If I had had some black glitter, I would have totally glittered out those shoes. I looked to my stash. I didn't have any, so I'm going to leave them as is, but I totally would do that if I had some black glitter at the time. Okay, I got this really pretty Valentine's Day ribbon. I especially love it because it has a cloth. It's a cloth ribbon as opposed to the satin, which is not ever my preference. For longevity, I love the cloth type ribbons. That's why Amazon is a great place to look for ribbons, because they sell a lot of the cloth ribbons. Now this one's really pretty. I got this on clearance at Joann's after last Valentine's Day. This is a 2.5 wired ribbon, but as I mentioned previously, Dollar Tree has plenty of 2.5-inch wired ribbons. You can get your ribbons from Dollar Tree. I'm just doing this, using this ribbon because I have it. And I love, as I said, the cloth type of a ribbon just for longevity on a piece. Okay, gonna make a bow. Yeah, again, I'm making a bow, but that's the way it is with me. If you follow my channel, you know I just love a beautiful bow. So I'm making my loops about 10 inches in length. I'm going to make just a simple bow here. I left a tail around, I want to say 12 inches, because I'm going to do something a little bit different with my tails on this piece, which you'll see later. So I simply fold over my loops, I pinch it in the center, I place my loops together to make sure I'm keeping my loops symmetrical or even in size. I have my little measuring block there, which I use to help me as well. But visually, I just eyeball my loops for the most part. Now I'm deciding here, am I going to put a heart in the middle of there? Am I going to put a loop in the middle of there? These are options. Okay, so, take note of that if you want to put something in the center of your bow instead of a loop. Now I decided to do two 10-inch loops on each side and then just one single loop around 8 inches resting on the two 10-inch loops on each side. Now, if you are interested in learning to make bows like I do, I have multiple tutorials in my playlist, all different types, simple, more complex bows, mixed ribbon bows. Just look on my playlist and find one. Hopefully you're interested in learning how to create these bows because they add such beauty to the pieces that we do on my channel. So I'm going to take a full-size pipe cleaner, wrap it around because I've created my loops for my bow. 2 loops on each side and 10 inches, 1 8-inch loop on each side. And now I'm going to simply twist my ribbon, which I always do before I fold over the ribbon to create a loop. I'm going to turn that ribbon under, create one center loop going right down the center, and I'm going to secure that with a pipe cleaner from around the back where I twisted that together to hold all those loops. Bring it around the back, twist it again in the back, and now I have all those loops secure on my bow. I pull that nice and tight, give it a couple of twists, and now I have a very pretty bow to put on my swag. Now that tail that's on the top, I'm going to cut off my ribbon at the spool the same length as the other original tail that I created. And then I'm going to take that tail on the top, do a little loose fold there, pop it through the center loop, pull it down, marry it up with the tail on the bottom. Now I'll adjust the length of the tails when I get ready to put my bow on. And then I'll trim my tails accordingly at that time. Very pretty. And it's going to go in the upper left-hand side of my swag. Those glitter hearts on there go beautifully with the glittery striping on that gnome's hat. I like to try and coordinate everything as best I can. Okay, I had decided after I created my 10-inch bundles why I didn't do this in the first place. I have no idea. But I'm going to add some snowball mesh to my bundles. And I believe I had cut those lengths for that the deco mesh that's in my hand there earlier at, I believe I cut them at 16 inches. And so I'm going to create a similar length for my snowball tool. And I'm just going to pop that right on the top, wrap the pipe cleaner around, and now I have my 10-inch deco mesh bundles all together, and I'm happy with that now. Love the effect of snowball tool. Oh my gosh, do I love it. I also love snowball mesh, but there's just nothing like snowball tools to me. Okay, so now I'm going to begin attaching my bundles. Now, in hindsight, I wish that I would have put longer. I used like a full-size pipe cleaner here, but I didn't. I used a half. I'm going to advocate if you do the 10-inch deco mesh bundles that you use a full-size pipe cleaner. If you're going to be wrapping around that stick, because it takes up extra room or length on the pipe cleaner to wrap it around. I'm going to go ahead and place all of my bundles going right down the center. These are my 10-inch deco mesh bundles that I'm placing here. And I have tiny little area to twist these in the back. I did go in later and glue everything on the back just to hold those. Now, as I place these down the stick, I placed my mesh up so that I would have the best demonstration of color. So I tried to place my red up against my white, white up against red. You get the idea. As I place them going down the swag on the stick. For some reason, that one went on much easier. And you'll see me later just go around and down the back and secure that with hot glue. So again, I had 4 10-inch bundles that went down the front of this swag, and this created such a fluffy, full swag. Now, if you want to use nothing but Dollar Tree mesh, that's fine, and just create the scrunches. I would use 2 bundles per one. To match up the bundles, I would create 2 bundles per the 10-inch bundles. So in plain words, if that made no sense at all, you're going to create 8 more bundles because there's 4 larger bundles. So you want to create 2 to match that space. So in other words, 8. Okay, so you need 8 bundles if you're going to place those down the center, plus 3 bundles on each side, plus 1 bundle right at the bottom. I'm going to put this all in the description box, but that's if you're using only Dollar Tree mesh. The Dollar Tree mesh is not as full, obviously, as the 10-inch other mesh. And the other mesh, let's be honest, it's a better quality mesh. It's stiffer, fuller. So you have to compensate by using more bundles when you're creating a Dollar Tree deco mesh bundle. Okay, I hope I didn't confuse you with that. In plain words, instead of the larger deco mesh bundles, you're just going to create 8 bundles to replace those. Now I'm taking those smaller bundles, which I absolutely love with the Dollar Tree deco mesh and snowball tool, and I'm placing those on my wood dowels. Now I'm placing 3 on each side, and what this does is it fills out the sides. It also creates a really nice filling for one thing that drives me crazy is if you see a piece hanging up and it lacks fullness on the outside edges. That kind of drives me crazy. So this fills in that area and completes it so beautifully. And these meshes look beautiful together. Now I'm going to take hot glue wherever I attached a deco mesh bundle on the larger stick as well as the dowels. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of hot glue on each side of the pipe cleaner. That's going to hold it beautifully. Look at that application of deco mesh. It's beautiful with all the different textures, and that snowball tool really adds to that piece. Now I just take my time and fluff it up a bit, getting all of my deco mesh kind of meshed together, if you will. Now I decided to create one last deco mesh bundle with the Dollar Tree mesh, and I put that right at the point or the bottom of the stick. That really finished off the bottom. So I'll put all of the total number of right there. That's what I was trying there, right there. That's what I was trying to tell you before, was that these bundles I am going to create. I'm going to put all of them, whether you create it each of the two different ways. I'm going to put them, what I used and how much, in the description box. I'm showing you there exactly how I glue that, snip off the excess. So if you want to create this piece with the fuller 10-inch bundles plus the Dollar Tree, I'll have that in the description box. If you want to do it totally Dollar Tree deco mesh, I'm going to put that in the description box as well. So that way you can just refer to that and create your bundles. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm just trying to give you some options here, because perhaps you have some 10-inch mesh in your stash. You could utilize it here. And look how beautiful. It creates such a fullness. So pretty. Now, for the top, I wanted to push my deco mesh down because I do want the shoes to show of the gnome as much as possible. So here you can see I'm trying to mesh together, if you will, my deco mesh. And then for that area up there at the top, I pushed my deco mesh down, and to keep the bundles in place so that the shoes show, I just use little dabs of hot glue on the loops of that deco mesh. And, that way those shoes can show a little bit. All right, now here's another way in which you can take this up another creative level. You could find these little glittery, they're paper hearts, but they're a little bit on the stiffer side, so they'll stand up well on this piece. I took 3 different sizes of those hearts. I'm creating a little heart design going up the side of the gnome's hat. I start with the larger hearts on the bottom and graduate up the side of the hat with smaller ones. Notice how I have my hearts extending beyond the border of the hat. I think this is a really adorable touch for this gnome. So far, we've taken that simple sign, glittered up the pink, made it look better there. Now I'm creating hearts on the side in a red glitter that matches the glitter in the hat. And I'm also going to have a little heart hanging down, dangling from the tip of the hat of the gnome. So I just did a kind of a dry run to see how I wanted to place those hearts. And I just attached them with hot glue. But see what a difference it makes? I think that very often Dollar Tree items need something extra. And there's so many ways in which you can do that. And the piece ends up looking much more polished, much more high-end, next level creative when you do that. So when I use Dollar Tree materials, I'll always try and share with you how you can just make them look so much better. And this is one of those ways. So you just pick up some of these hearts. They have them at the Dollar Tree. They have an abundance of Valentine's Day crafting materials such as this. And so you should have no problem making these changes in this gnome sign. Now they have various gnome signs, but use the same principles. You know, step it up a bit, add some trimmings, add some glitter. Okay, so have glued my hearts on. And then the next thing I wanted to do, as I mentioned, I wanted to have a dangling heart from the tip of the gnome hat. Now, they do have hearts. I believe that's where I got this little bubble heart that I'm going to use dangling from the tip of the hat. Now, I haven't bought any materials from Dollar Tree yet for Valentine's Day. This I had, except for the sign, of course, but I'm talking about like all the embellishments. I have gone through the departments of several Dollar Trees to see what they have on hand so that I can, you know, allow you to know that when I do a tutorial. And yeah, like I said, plentiful, no problem with the Dollar Tree Valentine's Day materials. And I did notice they have a lot of different gnome signs. So yeah, I think this one's particularly cute. And it was quite convenient because the stick came on it, but you could do that very easily yourself. Just glue a painter's stick on there, maybe a couple of dowels to help out to hold the smaller bundles, and you're all set. Okay, next comes the little bubble heart. Now I'm going to make a little tiny bow to put on the tip of the gnome hat. This was a Dollar Tree narrow ribbon, one of my favorites. But the one that I'm going to use happens to be a Hobby Lobby ribbon. It's very narrow. I just like the look of it. But I could have just as well used any narrow ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So I have my handy dandy little bow maker here, which, by the way, I'm going to be showing you this. But my son and I designed a new one, and oh, it's so awesome. I'm going to be doing a video on that coming up. But it allows you to make all different sizes of tiny bows, and they come out absolutely perfectly. And I'll be showing you that when I do a tutorial on my new bow maker. Okay, so now I have a very cute little bow for the top or the tip of the hat with little red hearts. And it's going to go right there, as you see on the tip of the hat. Okay, so I went to my little baker's twine jar. As you can see, I have all my baker's twine in there from the Dollar Tree. And I happened to have red, which was very convenient. I just used a little bit of that baker's twine. And now I had to figure out a way to attach my little bubble heart to that. It has a little spot there at the top that I could glue it to, but I needed something a little more substantial to glue it down, so I just tied a little knot in my string, cut off the excess, and I took a little tiny dab of glue, and I just glued it right to the heart, and that worked out perfectly. Now this little addition to this sign, I think, was super cute. Very easy to do, and it really adds something to the piece. So I put my little knot right there in that glue. And now I'm going to simply glue that to the tip of the hat, precisely so that that bubble heart will hang down from the hat. So I did a little dry run there to be sure that it would actually dangle from the tip of the hat. I put a tiny dab of glue there, glued that string down, and then I'm going to place that bow that I created right on top of that. Now you can really see that pink glitter there, what a difference it made on that piece. And I'm going to put the bow down there, trim up the tails a bit. And now I think you would agree that we elevated the look of that gnome quite considerably with just some glitter, some glittery paper hearts, and that little bubble heart hanging down from the hat. We're going to be adding a little hanger on there later, but for now, the body of the gnome and the head and the hat are all complete. Okay, so now I'm going to place my bow on there. I'm going to put it on the upper left-hand side. And I'm going to just take my fingers, reach down through that deco mesh, and I'm going to attach those pipe cleaner tails right to the stick, the main stick of that piece. Not the dowels, but the main stick. Upper left-hand side. Now, I curled my tails. Can you see how I did that? I curled my tails, and to keep them sitting just the way I want them, I put a little dab of glue right on the deco mesh to keep them curled. I think that was a really nice touch to that piece. Okay, now it's time to place the hearts. Now I have 2 of the larger hearts. I want to say they're around maybe 3.5 inches, 3 inches, something like that. I'm going to place one at the top next to the bow, and then one on the left side a little bit below the bow. Now, I don't place them straight on the piece. I tilt them slightly, and I'm just going to hot glue those on. This is going to, be just fine. They don't need anything more than a little hot glue. These hearts weigh absolutely nothing. They're going to stick to that deco mesh beautifully. I used 3 different size hearts, 2 large, and then I believe I used like 5 other hearts on the piece. And then I decided to add one more thing, and this is a mesh tubing from the Dollar Tree. Now, I love this mesh tubing on deco mesh pieces, so I'm going to create a couple of figure 8 bows, leaving about a 5-inch tail. And I'm going to create 5 of these little bundles, if you will, but they're just 2 figure 8 bows. So there's 4 loops, and I leave a tail. I take a little piece of a pipe cleaner. Now, I'm not going to attach these to the dowels or the stick. It's just not necessary. I'm just simply going to use, I cut off the pipe cleaner, leave a little bit of a stub, and I'm just going to put a little hot glue on there, poke it down into the deco mesh, and that will adhere right to the mesh. It's just not necessary to go to the trouble of wrapping those around the dowel or the stick. They will stay in there very, very nicely. So I created 5 of those loops. I'm going to place those around the swag here and there. The reason why I love these is not to create a bow look, if you will, on the piece, but I like the look of the loops and the tails popping up out of the mesh, just like that. So what I do is I fold my bow, if you will, in half. I put a little dab of glue right at the base, like you saw me doing there. I pop it into the deco mesh, And then I take my scissors and I just poke it down, make sure it adhered to some of the deco mesh. And then I just pull my loops, open them up, and I like those tails popping up out of the deco mesh. This is just something that I like to do. It's, something that's kind of a signature thing that I do. So I don't want them to necessarily look like a bow on the piece. I just want the extra texture and the look of them on the piece. And that's going to be the last embellishment that I place on this piece. And I absolutely love this. It was a minimal cost to create this piece. And like I said, you could do this entire piece with Dollar Tree materials if you want to keep the cost minimal. Okay, so now I'm going to take my narrow ribbon that I used to make the bow for the hat, and I'm going to glue two pieces of that together, the wrong sides together. I'm going to make a teardrop shaped hanger. So the reason why I did that is so both sides of the ribbon would have the hearts on it. And I'm just going to fold that into a teardrop shape, crisscross my bow. Now you see how I have hearts on both sides. I crisscross that into a teardrop shape, just like that. And I'm going to place that on the back of the hat. That's going to be my hanger for the piece. And I'm going to make sure that I place that right at the very place where the original hanger was. That way I know for sure that my gnome swag is going to hang nice and straight. Little dab of glue will hold that just fine. This entire swag is like feather light. I mean, it weighs like nothing. It's so light. Everything that's on there is just extremely lightweight, so you don't have to worry about it being heavy. But just to be sure, I added a piece of felt to the back of this teardrop hanger. So I hot glued down my teardrop hanger, and then I cut a little piece of felt, placed it over there just for added security. My goodness, the back of that swag is just a crazy looking hot mess, but it really doesn't matter, does it? Because it's not going to be seen. And there goes my little piece of felt, just an extra measure of hold on there. And that's it for my swag. I love this piece. I think it's just adorable. And I hope you feel inspired to run right out to your nearest Dollar Tree and pick up your supplies. Super cute. Love, love, love this piece. And I hope you do as well. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one and if you plan to make it. And here you have it. And it's so, so pretty. All right. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as well, if you are not a subscriber, I hope you'll become one. Take care.